All right, everyone, welcome to the fifth quarter on a frustration Monday, not a victory Monday. Browns lose to the Los Angeles Chargers in a wild one out there at SoFi Stadium. I'm Dave DeNatale, along with Jay Crawford. Let's get right into it, Jay. We may even break format a little bit because you and I were talking before. The essence of the loss was basically the question: who is to blame? And there are, unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, there might be one suspect, and in reality, there are a lot.
Yeah, the blame game on Monday is never fun to play. That means you lost, right?
Right.
I want to start by making this point before fans break their arm reaching for the panic button. The Browns have two losses this year. They lost to the Chiefs, who were in the Super Bowl last year, and they lost to the Chargers, who may well be in the Super Bowl next year. They lost in their stadiums, and both of those were winnable games. They didn't win, but they were in them. So let's just take a step back and relax for a minute before everybody starts calling the bench Baker or cut Odell. It's nonsense. The other thing is to the blame game. So if you're of the school that the pass interference penalty was the reason why the Browns lost, and if you're of the mindset that Baker Mayfield was the reason the Browns lost, and if you're of the mindset that the Browns defense giving up 47 points was the reason the Browns lost, and if you're of the mindset that Kevin Stefanski's mindless play calling with 3:08 to go in the football game was the reason the Browns lost, you're right and you're wrong, because it is not one thing. It never is one thing. It's a myriad of things. The defensive pass interference call was a joke. If you freeze frame it and you got the picture of the receiver pulling down on Green's jersey, come on. That's pass interference 100 times out of 100 for high school referees, okay? They missed it. Obviously, if they call that, it's the Browns' ball at the 40-yard line. Now you can not only chew clock, but you kick a field goal and the game's over, okay? Right. So that obviously had a lot to do with the game, a lot to do with the game. Was Baker great in the last couple of minutes with those two drives? Well, no, he was not. Could he have been better? Absolutely. Is his play in the last 3 minutes the reason the Browns lost? No. Again, what had he done before those drives? When you start changing your play calling philosophy and you go conservative and you have your best player watching from the sidelines, you get what you deserve. Mm-hmm. And last night, the Browns ran it on first down, threw it on second down, and of course, you run it on third down. I mean, and by the way, Chubb was watching. Chubb, right. It reminds me of when USC lost the national championship because Pete Carroll had Reggie Bush standing next to him and gave the ball to Lendale White when he needed a yard. He didn't get it. Vince Young and Texas took over. Boom, boom, boom. Game. Don't outthink the room. Okay, you want to run Hunt in that situation. That's fine. Where is it written Hunt and Chubb can't be in the game at the same time? Where does that, I didn't know that was a rule. I don't get that. If he's on the field, he's drawing attention, whatever he does. And whatever attention he draws, that's fewer players that can pay attention to wherever the ball's going. So the fact that he's just standing there and you say, well, we don't have a package for that. Get a package for that. This is the NFL. You can do whatever you want. Watch Andy Reid. Andy Reid breaks every rule in the playbook book, and he wins games. Yep. Stefanski is that guy, too. That's what's so maddening. For 58 minutes, he's that guy. And then when you need 2 first downs or nothing what you've done to that point matters, you go AWOL on the play calling. So those 3 plays that net 4 yards and lead to a punt. Now, granted, the clock ticked before the Browns kicked the ball away. But those 3 plays took off like 18 seconds.
Right.
So you accomplish absolutely nothing. Oh, and by the way, your defensive play chart in the second half reads touchdown, punt, touchdown, touchdown. Anyone thinking that the Browns defense was about to suddenly stop that Chargers offense is not of sane mind. Oh. I could have made an argument for going for it on fourth down. Because if you do that, you give San Diego a short field. They're going to score anyhow. You give them a short field. At least you have more clock to work with when you have to go the length of the field for a potential game-winning drive. So and meantime, the other guy, the rookie head coach, is over there coaching like it's Madden, and he comes out with the W. It's unbelievable how often he went for it on fourth down. He was saying to us, "You cannot stop us." And guess what we said back? You're right. Right. So it was all of those things, Dino, and this notion that this is Baker's loss, or this is Stefanski's loss, or this one's on the officials, or the defense. How can the defense? By the way, the defense gave up 47 points to one of the best offenses they'll see this year. So let's just pump the brakes on all of that. It's an L. There's a lot of reasons for the L. There's not one. And it's time now to regroup and get ready for an undefeated Arizona team. Because I will tell you this, if they lose this coming Sunday at First Energy to Arizona and slip to 3-3, the chances of them making the playoffs go down dramatically. They've got to stand up and they've got to beat a good team. And, Baker answered the critics. He was horrible 2 weeks ago. I wrote that he was horrible. Anybody that watched the game knew he was horrible. The problem is he answered that. He was 23 of 32 for 305, 2 touches and no interceptions. Did he take the team on the game-winning drive when there was a minute 30 to go with no timeouts? No. Again, on the play calling, they ran 3 plays that netted 12 yards and cost them 50 seconds. A high school coach would have his team on the field Friday night when the game was over running the 2-minute offense, because that's unacceptable at any level. It's just unacceptable. Yeah. And part of that is Baker. Part of that is the play calling. Part of that was the offensive line was giving him no time to throw. He had to take the quick hit. So there's a lot of things going on. The Browns are still a very good football team. Baker is still a very good quarterback. Is he the best in the league? No. Is he elite? I don't know. What's elite? A playoff quarterback to me is elite, because the playoffs do one thing. They distinguish the elite from the rest of the family. And by those definitions, Baker took this team to the playoffs last year. So until he misses the playoffs, that's my definition of elite. Get your team in the Super Bowl playoff for a chance to win it.
Here's what, if you go on social media or you talk to certain 3 News teammates, the problem is they see Baker not able to lead the Browns down the field against the Chiefs, not able to lead the Browns down the field late against the Chargers. The Browns lost to Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes twice, including once to the playoffs.
Yes.
And now they've lost to Justin Herbert.
Yes.
So now it's when is our young quarterback going to win a significant game?
I will tell you when.
Yeah.
When the 11 players that are on the field with the 3 that you mentioned stand up. That's when. If you give them 47 points, you're going to lose. By the way, how's this for a stat? In the history of the NFL, teams that have scored 42 points without turning the ball over were 422-0 until now. Until now. So anybody who wants to put this on Baker, all you got to do is say, wait a minute, that makes this defense all-time historically porous in this game. I'm not calling them bad. We saw the week earlier how great they can be when they're healthy. Look, you take a starting defensive end, you decimate a starting defensive backfield, I don't care who you're playing, you're going to struggle. But when you're playing the Chiefs, you're really going to struggle, because the way you get to their quarterback is to rattle them. Well, you just take Clowney out of the game. Now you take your best cover corner out of the game. You take your number 1 draft pick out of the game. You take a myriad of other players that missed time yesterday because of injury. Come on. And so 442-0 when teams score 42 points with no turnovers until yesterday. That's not on the quarterback, kids. I'm sorry.
No. Two long touchdowns to Mike Williams because of defensive breakdowns. Baker can't do it. Baker can't run.
No, what's Baker going to do? Run on the field and tackle him? I mean, look, clearly broken coverage. I get that. That can happen. Once every 8 games, you should find a player that wide open. Twice in one game? Oh, yeah, you got to blame Baker for that. I mean, come on. He clearly draws up the defensive schemes, right? I mean, it's crazy. And here's the thing that drives me most mad about it. I've been hearing from friends across the country between yesterday and today, and they're saying, wow, reading all the Baker hate online, you guys are incredible. So you guys, everybody gets lumped into that. And so instead of just debating that, I'm like, what do you mean? And one after another, here's what they said. Do you remember the quarterbacks you've had for the last 25 years? Do you remember the jersey with all the names? Do you forget that this guy took you to a playoff win last year and damn near beat the team that went to the Super Bowl at their place? Do you guys forget that? So it makes the Cleveland Browns fan base look uneducated to the rest of the country. Not that that matters, because at the end of the day, it means absolutely nothing. But we can represent better than that. We know what we have. At least you'd think we do. Yet you don't have to look very hard to find Baker haters, because they're out there. And I hear from them on a regular basis. They're out there. And I mean, hell, if Baker, when his contract is up, decides, you know what, I'm going to take my chances with another outfit, who's going to blame him? Who's going to blame him?
Right.
Not saying he will. My hope is that they come to a long-term agreement. Is he worth $40 million a year? I don't think any quarterback's worth $40 million a year. Is he worth top 5 quarterback money? No, he's not. Is he worth top 10 quarterback money? I'll listen to arguments that say he is.
Yeah.
I can make a case that he is, and I can make a case that he isn't. But this notion of, is he better than Jackson? Is he better than Mahomes? Is he better than Herbert? Is he better than all the others? Tom Brady had seasons end that didn't win Super Bowl championships. For every time he won, there were 2 that he didn't. But he's been the best quarterback in the league for 21 years. What happened those other 14 years? Well, there's 21 other starters and special teams units that have a lot to say about who wins and who loses. So stop trying to put all of the blame on one doorstep. Stefanski's to blame, Baker's to blame, play calling's to blame, the defense was to blame, the defensive coordinator and his play calling was to blame. The team should just stand up in the meeting after the game and say, guys, all of us contributed to this debacle. All of us. You win with all of us, you lose with all of us. And right now, if this team doesn't pull it together before Sunday and they fall to 3-3, you get what you get. They've got to answer the bell. This is the biggest game of the year, bar none.
I hope that when we do this next Monday, we will have happy tidings on a Victory Monday and all is well. Like Kevin Bacon in Animal House, all is well.
Here's how that happens. If Baker goes 45 for 45 with 500 yards and 7 touchdowns, Browns fans will be thrilled. Everybody will be happy. And they won't be able to complain about him. Just get the W. You know, Baker, of course, has to be better. He particularly has to be better in late game situations. But if you're pointing a finger at Baker, careful, very careful, because there were a lot of other reasons the Browns lost that game yesterday, a lot of them. And to my initial point, we're 3-2 and we've lost to 2 horses, 2 dominant football teams. And both of them were winnable games on the road. What happens if, but just by chance, the schedule makers had San Diego and Kansas City in Cleveland? Are we 5-0 now? I don't know.
You never know. Would have been.
That
would be interesting.
My hope is we get to see either or both of those teams again, and we can figure it out then. I'd like to see what happens if we were full strength. Oh, by the way, Jarvis Landry, not available. So, I mean, come on. You know, it is what it is. Nobody should be jumping off any bridges or, you know, pushing any panic buttons. Are there things that need to be cleaned up? Absolutely. I think Kevin Stefanski had a real wake-up call last night. When he watches this film back and he sees his play calling sequence with 3:08 to go, needing 2 first downs to put the dub on the board, I don't think he's going to say that he made the right call. I don't know how. And you know what? It's easy when the play doesn't work to say it was the wrong call. But if you're going to throw, they had 9 guys in the box on first down. So they're 1,000% loading up against the run. Why not a play action fake there and throw the ball there?
And it's got to be a high percentage throw too.
Sure, it's got to be something to your tight end or his swing back or something very close. But you're going to run the ball. They know what you're going to do. I've had a million NFL head coaches tell me, if I know what the other team is going to do, I'm more than halfway to victory. Knowing what they're going to do is the mystery until you telegraph it. And when you've got Chubb on the bench and Hunt as the lone back, I'm calling plays from my couch, and I've never coached football. If I'm calling them from my couch, I will promise you San Diego's calling them effectively from the skybox.
That's it. All
right.
My friend, great stuff.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you later tonight on What's New. Jay Crawford, yours truly, Jay and Dino. Back with you next week on the fifth quarter, everyone. Have a great day.